Got breaking news from the NFL where the Kansas City Chiefs have acquired linebacker Josh Uche from the Patriots. That's the latest from our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. In return, New England receives a 6th-round pick in 2026. Uche has spent the first 5 years of his career with the Patriots, putting up a career-high 11.5 sacks in 2022. Through 7 games this season, he recorded 2 sacks and 2 tackles for loss. He'll join a Chiefs defense that's allowing the 5th fewest yards and points per game in the NFL so far this season. All right, let's bring in NFL analyst Pete Prisco here for more on this. Pete, your reaction to this: 2 weeks, 2 trades for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Can they play tackle? I mean, they need a tackle in the worst way. That's the problem with that team right now, is their offensive tackles aren't very good. But as far as adding a guy like Uche, here's why they need to bring him in. You know, for all the gaudy numbers at the top in terms of yards, and you mentioned him 5th in the league, they're pretty good on defense. But what they don't do well enough is rush the passer, and that's with Chris Jones in the lineup. They're 21st in the league in sacks per game, 2.1. It needs to be better than that. They don't take away the ball. They're only taking it away 1.1 times per game, which is middle of the road. So you combine that with a guy like Uche, who in his career has been a good pass rusher, a situational pass rusher, a tough physical football player. It makes sense. You're not giving up anything. You're going for it this year again. Why not give up the 6th-round pick for a guy who can help your pass rush?
Pete, how do the Chiefs keep doing it here? Because it's shades of the New England Patriots when they had their dominant dynasty years, and the fact that they just find ways to bring in players and just continue a rich get richer type of scenario here.
Well, they realize they have a problem, and when you have a problem like that, you know, they can go out and address it, and you give up, you know, those draft picks. When you give up a 6th-round pick for a guy who might be able to get a sack, fumble late in the playoffs, it makes a lot of sense for a team like the Chiefs. It might not work for a team who's not trending in the right direction. So I get it. But again, I go back to their tackle position. If they don't address their tackle position in the coming weeks before the trade deadline, I think they have a major problem. And that's why I've thrown out Cam Robinson in Jacksonville. I think there's an opportunity for them to go get a veteran player who might come in and step in and be their left tackle for their playoff run. He's not great, but he's certainly better than what they have over there in Wanya Morris, who we saw on Sunday had a rough go of it in his game against the Raiders.
For the Patriots, I mean, you get a 6th-round pick in 2026. I mean, what does this tell you about that situation in terms of the return here? Because this is a guy who, Pete, as we mentioned, I mean, he had 11.5 sacks 2 years ago, and now he's being dealt for a 6th-round pick in 2026. What does that tell you about the situation in New England and kind of how they're moving things forward?
Well, Jeremy, 2 years ago is a lifetime in terms of what it means in the NFL. He's only had 5 sacks the last 2 years, and clearly there was a disconnect. He was a healthy scratch, maybe on Sunday, maybe in large part because they were going to deal him. But, you know, there's been issues involving that staff and him. I don't think that they've actually warmed to him. So it makes sense. If you don't have a guy you want to play